Hey there, pirates. Welcome aboard the Anime No Me channel. Guys, there's a connection between Joy Boy and Zoro's lineage, and the name that naturally comes up in this conversation is Ryuma Shimotsuki. After all, he's not just a legend within the story of One Piece, he also holds a title that has never been contested. I hope for your support to help our crew win, and to do so, you just need to click the thumbs up button, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel. By doing this, you will win an incredible devil fruit, so just comment which fruit you want, the god of the blade. If we think about Joy Boy having a right-hand man, someone at his side, a warrior who could protect him and help carry on his legacy, then it makes perfect sense that this role would be filled by a swordsman of legendary level. And if there's anyone who fits that profile, I believe that person may have been Ryuma. The first strong clue comes from the Shimotsuki legacy itself. In chapter 953, when Kawamatsu explains to Zoro the story of Enma and how it was once wielded by Odin, we also learn that Ryuma was the most important swordsman in Wano's history, someone whose legend was recognized even beyond the borders of the country. More than that, the Shimotsuki bloodline has a direct connection to Zoro, since Koshiro, Zoro's master, and Kuina, the girl he swore to surpass, both belong to that same clan. This means that Ryuma's blood still flows through Zoro's veins. And if that lineage was so important in Wano for hundreds of years, then it's possible that it goes back even further, maybe all the way to the time of the Void Century. If Ryuma truly was Joy Boy's right-hand man, that would mean he existed 800 years ago. But we know that Ryuma lived in a much more recent era, recent enough that his body could be used by Moria, and that his name is still remembered in Wano's stories. So how does that make sense? I think there are two possibilities. The first is that the Ryuma we know wasn't the only one. There may have been an original Ryuma who truly lived during Joy Boy's time. And the one we know is a direct descendant, someone who inherited not only his swordsmanship, but also his will. If this theory is true, then it fits perfectly with how One Piece treats the concept of inherited will. In chapter 1005, we see Robin mention that certain names and legacies never disappear because there will always be someone to carry them forward. This ties directly into the idea of Joy Boy, because we know there is a new Joy Boy in the present, meaning the title can be inherited. So why couldn't Joy Boy's right-hand man go through a similar process? If the name Ryuma was a title given to the strongest in the Shimotsuki lineage, that would explain why the Ryuma we know was still considered a legend even after so long. The second possibility is that the Ryuma from the past was somehow immortalized, whether through a special technique or a unique power that kept him alive far beyond a normal human lifespan. In chapter 966, when Roger and Whitebeard talk about the final island and the great treasure they found, there's a suggestion that Joy Boy left behind something that transcends time. If that something included his right-hand man, then maybe that's why Ryuma's legend lived on through the generations. Another interesting detail is the concept of the Black Blade. In chapter 937, Zoro learns that swords can become black over time by absorbing their user's haki. This is extremely rare, but Ryuma achieved it with Shusui, meaning he had a mastery of haki far beyond normal. And what if that power came from the time when he served Joy Boy? If Ryuma really was the ancient Joy Boy's right-hand man, then he might have learned techniques and fighting styles that were lost to time, and perhaps the very concept of a black blade originated with him. The connection between Zoro and this legacy might be deeper than we ever imagined. In chapter 955, when Hiyori gives Zoro Enma, she mentions that this sword was able to wound Kaido, something very few weapons in the world have done. If Enma holds that kind of power, then it makes sense that similar weapons existed in the past, and if Joy Boy had someone like Ryuma at his side, then it's likely he too wielded a legendary blade. There's another point to consider. Joy Boy, from what we've seen, seems to have been a symbol of liberation. In chapter 1044, when Luffy awakens his true power, we see that his laughter and way of fighting reflects someone who brings joy and freedom to everyone. If Joy Boy wanted to free people, then it makes sense that he needed someone by his side who was strong enough to protect him from any threat. And who better for that than a top-tier swordsman? If this relationship between Joy Boy and Ryuma truly existed, then Zoro is not only indirectly connected to this past, he may be destined to carry this legacy forward. Just like Luffy inherited Joy Boy's will, maybe Zoro is inheriting the will of the ancient swordsman who walked beside him. And if that's the case, then we can expect that at some point, Zoro will discover this truth and become even stronger, because he'll realize that his journey goes far beyond becoming the world's greatest swordsman. Now, if we think about what this means for the future, we can consider that if Zoro really is following in the footsteps of Joy Boy's right-hand man, then he may play a much bigger role in the great battle that lies ahead. In chapter 1049, when Kaido says that only Joy Boy can defeat him, it suggests that Joy Boy and those at his side in the past were a threat to the world's great powers. And if a new Joy Boy has appeared, then maybe a new right-hand man must rise as well. I believe there's still so much we don't know about Zoro's lineage and the true story of Ryuma. If Ryuma really was Joy Boy's right-hand man, that would mean the Shimotsuki bloodline has a direct connection to the Void Century. And if that connection is ever confirmed, then Zoro may discover that his destiny is far more intertwined with the events of the past than he ever imagined. And what would that mean for Zoro's quest to become the greatest swordsman in the world? Perhaps he will realize that this title goes far beyond Mihawk, and that, in the end, the greatest swordsman in history was not just a powerful duelist, but someone who carried the responsibility of protecting those who would change the world. If that's the case, then Zoro's battle may not end with Mihawk, but with something even greater, something that could lead him to reach the level of the ancient legendary swordsman who shaped history. Luffy's destiny as the new Joy Boy was already set long before he even knew the true nature of the Gomu Gomu no Mi. He was marked to carry the legacy of a man who in the past represented hope and freedom for the entire world. As the Kings of the Sea once said, Joy Boy is not just a legend, he is an eternal role, renewed with each generation. Luffy, as the chosen one, was born with the mission of being the bearer of that will and of leading the world into a new era of revolution. But what's even more fascinating is realizing that alongside Luffy, another destiny was sealed from the very beginning, Zoro's. Zoro is not just the swordsman who seeks to become the greatest in the world. He is, in truth, Luffy's right hand, the swordsman destined to fight alongside Joy Boy, just as there was once a first mate who stood by Joy Boy's side in the past, someone like Ryuma Shimotsuki. This connection between Luffy and Zoro's destinies reaches back to ancient times, when the Shimotsuki lineage, tied to the legendary Ryuma, played a crucial role in a history of freedom and resistance against oppressive power. Zoro, as the heir to that bloodline, carries much more than the simple dream of being the best swordsman. He carries the responsibility of protecting Joy Boy's will as the loyal first mate who is always by his side. And if Ryuma was truly Joy Boy's first mate, then Zoro, with his sword, his indomitable spirit, and his fierce determination, is destined to follow in the footsteps of that great warrior. He is not just learning to fight, but is internalizing a legacy of fighting for freedom, for justice, for a world without chains. His true journey deep down may be far grander than any duel with Mihawk. If he really is the successor to the legendary swordsman, then his true mission is to be Luffy's sword, the guardian of the new Joy Boy, the protector of the future they are building together. Zoro's battle will be much more than a clash between swordsmen. It will be a fight for Ryuma's legacy, for the will of the Shimotsuki, and for the promise of a world where the world government's oppression can no longer prevail. And just as Luffy was chosen to be the new Joy Boy, Zoro is destined to be the new first mate. They are two intertwined destinies. Two forces that complete each other, two souls carrying the hope of a free world. The future of One Piece will not be written by Luffy's actions alone, but also by Zoro's sword, which, like Ryuma before him, will always stand by his captain, ready to face the impossible. In the end, what we will witness is not only the rise of Luffy as the Pirate King, but the rise of Zoro as the guardian and protector of Joy Boy's legacy. Together, they will write an epic tale where destiny and willpower intertwine, bringing forth the greatest revolution the world has ever known. And their battle alongside their Nakama will be one of the most magnificent the world has ever witnessed. What lies ahead is beyond imagination. It is the rebirth of an era where dreams, courage, and freedom will finally triumph over the shadows that have long tried to rule the world. That was today's content. We hope you liked it and want to share your opinion on the subject. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay amazing.